So I won't take up too much more time because I'd like to introduce Trish Jenkins, who I've only met this morning, but we chatted over the phone at long times, and she's got quite an interesting story, and I'd like her to come forward. Would you welcome Trish Jenkins to share her story? Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. My story is, well, I guess anybody who's been to jail, their story is a little unusual. My husband and I were very successful. We were investors. We attended seminars and listened to the gurus, and what they said worked. And we accumulated property, multiple properties and other investments, and we no longer had to work anymore. We had the dream. And in that process, I met someone who was a currency trader, and I invested with him, and that went well. And then he asked me to be a contact person for other people who were investing, because when you're wealthy, people want to do what you do. They want to pick your brains, they want to take you to lunch, make you feel good, stroke your ego, ask questions and ride on your coattails so that they can take a shortcut to where you are, which is all a lot of rubbish, really. And anyway, so I was the contact person. People gave me money to give to this gentleman, and he would pay me each month and I would pay them. And that worked well for a year and a half until he didn't pay. And I was the person who had to tell people, you're not getting your money. 1 month, 2 months. The third month, I caved under pressure. I felt like I had to fix the problem. The worst part is, I was a Christian. Not only was I a Christian, I was a pastor's kid. And I was a leader in my church. My husband and I looked after the business people in our church. We did not encourage people to put money in. We were very careful about conflict of interest, but that's what happened. And so what I did is I said to this gentleman, just this once, how about this last bit of money that's come in, I give that to the people so that they've got something that they've come to rely on. And he said, all right, let's do that. I didn't realise at the time that he was a criminal and he had actually spent all the money. But what I did was wrong. I knew it was wrong at the time, but I did it anyway because I lost my perspective. I'm not here to say that I was hard done by. I paid a price for that. We lost everything in a liquidation that took 2 years, death of 1,000 cuts. And then that was 2005 that it happened. And in 2009, I went to court in January and I didn't come home for 8 months. And I really want to commend you in Prison Fellowship. And I want to commend Robin, who I guess you could say she was my host when I was at Helena Jones. It wasn't an easy time. It's never an easy time for anybody. But she introduced programs that made us feel like human beings, that made us feel like we still had something to offer, that gave us skills. Now, I already had a lot of skills, but I did all the courses anyway because it made me feel normal again. So thank you, Robin, for caring. And I wasn't always easy to look after because I wasn't just a Christian, I actually believed my faith. And that creates its own set of dynamics in a politically correct system. And so I just want to acknowledge and honour you and apologise for when the times that I may have been a little difficult to look after, and my own coming to forgive my perceived things that went on. That was an ongoing process, and it's only by God that I was able to do that, because the shame that you feel, sorry about being emotional, I don't normally cry when I speak, but this is very close to home. Wesley Leake of Business Blessings have been interceding for me since 2005. And 96.5, the radio station, there were only 2 radio stations in prison that I could access at the jail, and 96.5 was one of them. Helped keep my sanity, helped keep me in touch. Thank you. It made all the difference. Robbie goes to my church, so to hear his voice is like having a visitor. So I had extra visits. The chaplains, you really are the light of the world. In a dark place, you bring light and you connect with the light in us. And as bad as some people are, I saw that light in them. Even the ones who are not Christians, there's the life of God in them. And I could see people from his perspective. Didn't always see them that way. Sometimes it was painful, but that constant forgiveness and asking God to show me people from his perspective was the key to my recovery. And now, I had become, before I went in, during those years, I had become an expert, now an authority on fraud warning signals. And when I came home, I thought, how can I publish a book and people not find out that I've been in jail? Well, God showed me that my message is more important than my pride. So I now speak to businesses and other groups on fraud warning signals, what to look for, what makes us vulnerable, and how to deal with that so that it doesn't happen. And that's been quite useful. And I also speak to people on overcoming adversity and dealing with the issues that I had to deal with that are not necessarily about jail, but people might not be in prison, but they still might feel like they are. And that God is the one who frees us. And when I speak to secular groups, they invite me because I went to jail. Makes me interesting, I guess. But it's an uplifting message. It's not about poor me. It's about you can change the past and free your future. I did. I changed my past. I can't change the facts. The facts are these. But I can change what those facts mean for my life. Once I thought I had ruined my life, that my children would have hang-ups, that I would never be employed again. Well, I can't be employed in a lot of things at the moment. But I thought it meant the end. But, God is a God of hope. And with your support and your encouragement to people, they can change what that means. And now I have a different purpose for my life. And I'm making that past serve me because I serve other people with it. Keep going with what you're doing. It makes all the difference in the world. One thing that you say to someone, like David said about that one visitor, one thing that you say, one word of encouragement can make all the difference to one life. Thank you.